I told you to get out and you were pregnant.
We just got married.
I know.
We conceived on our wedding day.
Yes.
And this was meant to be the best time.
Yeah.
And that was when I thought there's big mental issues here going on.
Yeah.
You sat me down and said to me, I think this is best. I've thought it through. You need to move out. We need some space. I was 5.5, 6 months pregnant with our first. And the other two were 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
I put the suitcases in the car and I drove to my mum's.
How long did you stay?
7 weeks.
7 weeks? I don't remember this.
Whilst I was pregnant.
I mean, I'm not going to be able to explain what the hell was going on in my own thinking. I promise you,
I can explain what you did.
Oh, go on then.
But it might hurt. It was so cruel.
Welcome to The Golding Show. My name is David Golding. I am known as Sober Coach Dubai, and I am an addict, alcoholic, cocaine addict, and gambling addict.
Hi, I'm Kristina. I'm David's wife, and I think this is one of the most interesting episodes so far.
I've not been looking forward to this one, I have to admit.
No, you've not.
You know, the episodes that we've done, I think there's been moments that have touched us and that have been difficult. I think this whole bloody episode is going to be difficult. Okay, so this episode is called Can't Live With You, Can't Live Without You. And I know that what this is going to do is to bring back all those memories.
Instantly.
Of that seesaw world that we lived in. And the seesaw was, am I staying? Am I leaving? We've just had a row. Are we getting a divorce? We've separated.
I'll go further than that.
Go on.
When things were really bad and I saw you when you'd had...
Cocaine.
Yeah. And you just looked disheveled.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think, how can such an intelligent, educated person do this to themselves?
Mm.
I used to plan in my mind for times when you weren't around.
Well, as in case I died?
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because you were so unhappy. And you justified everything you did, whether it was gambling or taking or drinking, you justified it at the time in such a way. It was so clever. I used to think, what would I do if he died?
Right.
What would I do with the kids? What would I tell them? What would the future look like? So when you say with or without you, as in the song, yeah, that has a totally different meaning to me.
Okay.
It was tough going because you're in that middle ground with no name, no identity. It was a feeling in the middle. Do I stay? Do I go? Does he live? Does he die?
Gosh, what a horrible place to be.
It was. I think a lot of people live through that, though.
I think you're 100%
And not just
right.
with their spouse, with their sons and daughters.
Yes, that must be terrible.
Awful. Or mums and dads.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. At the time, why is he doing this to himself?
Gosh, and, there's no sensible, sane answer to that. There just isn't.
Help me understand, because there's people listening that would want to understand. Because you've been there and you've come out.
Yeah.
Thank God. Help me understand.
Okay. So let me just get the question right in my head, because I want to make sure I answer it right. Which is, you're asking, why do we continue to do these things that are so hurtful and painful, to the point where you actually think that we might either A, divorce, or B, I might die?
Divorce meant death because of what you used to say to me.
Yeah, okay.
If anything happened, my life's not worth living.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people say that they don't mean. I actually believed that you meant it.
I would weaponize splitting up, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though, actually, a lot of the time it was me that was forcing us to split up, because we did split up temporarily for 2 or 3 times. And they're all horrible and shameful. I think one was particularly shameful.
And the children never knew. Which was an achievement in itself for me.
So I'm going to dig deep and talk about something that we've discussed. It's one of those things that we've discussed that I like to think, okay, done that one, talked about that one. Let's put that one in a box. It's been discussed. We've opened the box. I'm going to open it again. The situation where I don't recall the circumstances. I told you to get out and you were pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I can remember is that there must have been, I don't even remember this.
No, can I just say, you didn't tell me to get out. You
Oh.
sat me down and said to me, I think this is best. I've thought it through. this is the best thing that we can do. You need to move out while we temporarily or permanently agree to disagree or move on or get back together. We need some space. I was 5.5, 6 months pregnant with our first.
Okay.
And the other two were 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah. Okay. You see, that just doesn't sound like me, that I could be so level-headed to discuss splitting up with you and sit you down. And,
calmly.
And that is alien to me, because hands are sweating now. The concept and thought of splitting up, not being with you.
I just used to think that was rubbish when you used to say to me, I can't live without you.
Oh, no, it's so true.
But yet you can plan.
I could do that.
Strategically plan my exit.
I mean, I'm not going to be able to explain what the hell was going on in my own thinking. I promise you.
I can explain what you did.
Well, go on then.
But it might hurt.
Well, just share it. Because listen, somebody else might hear this and think, gosh, I'm going through this at the moment. What did you do? Why was it like that?
It was so cruel. It was a flash of, you talk about when you have flashbacks.
Yeah.
This was a flashback.
Okay.
I was pulling my 2 suitcases down the stairs. The kids were in the car outside. And I looked over at you in the kitchen and you were pulling down the oven door and taking the tray out that had a lovely roast beef top side in it. And you were checking if it was done or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you said out loud, this is going to be really juicy and I'm going to really enjoy this.
Okay.
And I said, I hope you enjoy it. And I left.
You see, I can't believe that I would do something like that.
Well,
but I did. I did.
But I also at the time thought, he's not. He's on tilt.
Okay. We've learned that phrase, by the way, to be on tilt.
And that was when I thought there's big mental issues here going on.
Yeah.
You're actually having a roast beef dinner, which you associated with good times.
Yes.
The day of my exit.
Okay.
I put the suitcases in the car and I drove to my mum's.
How long did you stay at
7 weeks.
7 weeks? 2 months? Fuck, I don't remember this.
Whilst I was pregnant and all the hormones. It's my 3rd one.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, so I can sit here and ask myself the question, which is, how the hell can I do that? How can I think that, A, that's okay? B, how can I actually even get to the point where I'm thinking that that's a great idea? That this actually is a solution? And I think that I can only explain that it's a good indicator of how unwell I was. Because I think that there's this graph, there's this slope that gets worse and worse and lower and lower. And you could probably call that your mental health state, about that's getting lower and lower. Because for me, there's an association with how well I am to how well I'm thinking and how well I'm behaving. So if I'm not behaving well and I'm saying not well things and doing not well actions, forgive the language, by the way, but if I'm doing and saying all these things, I'm not very well. Now, at the time...
I'll just add, sorry.
I won't know that.
We just got married.
I know. Yeah.
We conceived on our wedding day.
Yes.
And this was meant to be the best time.
Yeah. So 5 months in.
5.5, 6 months in.
Okay.
I know it hurts you to talk about it.
Yeah,
but it helps people realise, they're not on their own.
No.
There was many stories we had, but that was one of the worst ones.
That was a low point of my behaviour to force you out of our home, our marital home, and we're living as a family.
With reason. You had reason. We need the space. You thought it was a good idea. And in my mind, I was very... I was thinking, what would a lawyer say? Mm. My mind went, don't leave the marital home. What are you doing? You're pregnant. You're taking 2 younger children with you. Yeah. He's staying in the marital home, scoffing his face with roast beef whilst I drive away. And it's all been agreed. I didn't have a choice. But I remember thinking in my head, this isn't it, because I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
I will get back with him, but I'm never leaving the home again.
Right. Okay. Sensible head.
I changed. I became very, very hard.
And do you know what?
Ice Queen, Iron Lady, used to call me Iron, and I think I am.
Well, I've said this before, I forced you to behave like this. I put you through these episodes, these moments, these periods of time.
Which I never thought would happen to me in my life.
Of course.
I thought it happened to everybody else.
And of course, every time I shove your nose in one of these things, you're going to learn how to behave. You're going to see me when I'm coming again. And the thing is that I'm just this out of control, chaotic pendulum that's swinging all over the place. And because I'm in the madness and I'm insane and doing these crazy things, I wonder whether you on the outside can look at that with a bit more helicopter view to say, gosh, here he goes again. He's a bit insane this week. Is it like that, or am I making that up?
No, that was who you were. I treated you with caution.
Yeah.
It's like trying to stroke a barking dog that keeps growling at you. Just why would you stroke the dog?
Okay.
But it was different that time because my family were involved.
Yes.
I was moving in with my mum.
Yes.
The kids were saying, what are we doing? And I think I told them at the time, there's work being done to the house, so it's probably safe not living there while the work's being done.
Got you.
And I felt okay because the children were not affected.
Yes. Okay.
They were my, what do you call it?
Well, they're your prime focus.
Yeah. As long as they were okay, I was okay to a degree.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. I don't recall the circumstances about which that came about.
I don't either.
And I'm a sort of Mr. Logical bloke. I'm a black and white guy.
Yeah, you are.
I don't live in the grey. And of course, the world is grey. And I've had to learn in recovery about how to accommodate grey, because I think I used to find comfort in forcing the world to be black or white because I couldn't live in this no man's land.
But with all that money you had, then you did.
I could buy black and white. I could buy my way out of the grey. Yeah.
And your ego was so big.
Yes.
You thought you were something else.
Yeah.
And you weren't.
Yes. No, I was just insane. Insane with a few quid. Yeah.
Why do you think addicts do that to the loved ones? Why is it the loved ones that get hurt first?
They're nearest. They see everything. Don't forget.
Why the lies?
It's
shame. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, it's fine. No, shame and guilt. It's about covering your ass. People don't want to admit truths. You know, when you need to admit a truth, you got to be ready, haven't you? You've got to be ready to admit a truth. You know, and when you're not ready, I think human beings paper over or downright lie to cover their own ass. Of course they do. People do it at work. People do it at home. It's a human trait. Now, everyone will understand the concept of being honest and being truthful and not telling a lie and the benefits of all of those things, which is great. You can read a book about it if you want. But behaving like that, that's bloody tough. That's tough to maintain that. And that's one of the things that, again, that we learn in recovery, which is about honesty. You know, that's the H in how. How do we get clean and sober? Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. So to be honest. But when you're insane and mad and drunk and ashamed and, you know, you're keeping secrets like last night I bought a load of cocaine and I've gambled, and you end up just covering your tracks. You don't set out to lie and become the world's worst liar. You're in this spiral.
I understand that.
Chaotic spiral where you have to cover the tracks. Listen, if you're getting confronted with somebody saying, did you do that last night?
Which happens all the time.
Yeah, I think somebody's natural inclination is to say no. I mean, I've heard funny stories where people just completely deny everything. You know, they've just denied.
We've met a few people like that, haven't we?
Yes, of course, yes. Deny everything.
It wasn't me.
Yes, I think there's a great scene there. I'm being reminded in my mind now of Blackadder, about the speckled pigeon. And they tell Baldric, deny everything. Are you Baldric? No, I'm not. Anyway, so it's a bit like that.
Okay.
It's deny to instantly save your face and cover yesterday's lie with today's lie. So, by the way, I'm not advocating lies. I'm saying
it's helpful to those who live with addicts.
They'll be covering their ass. They don't want to be found out because they can't admit the bloody truth, which is they're out of control and they don't know what to do.
Okay, so do we give them a big hug? Or do we...
There's no...
I detached, you see, from you.
Yeah, there's no...
What do you do when you live with or without you can mean so much.
Yeah, okay, thanks for getting us back on track.
Yeah.
With or without you, for me, describes in an overarching way that period of probably 4 years. Sometimes were worse than others. But there was a period of time for 4 years, which is from when I started drinking again. So we got married. I'd been sober for a year, but I wasn't well, by the way. I wasn't well. I hadn't changed. I was still the same bloke.
Well, you're a good actor. Because you were great around the kids.
And that's okay.
I would often forgive little blips, by the way.
Yeah.
When we'd had words, and then you'd come in, you'd come home, and you'd play with the kids for hours. And I used to think,
And that's because that's me trying to be authentic in who I really am. I want to be a good dad, and I want to be a good husband.
Yeah, I know you do.
And I want to do all those things. But a lot of the time, there's so much noise going on in my life, in the world, external things and internal things. This noodle up here, that's your worst enemy if you're somebody like me. You know, the rumination, the thinking.
Especially your brain.
You know, the unraveling it does, telling me I'm a piece of shit. Now I was. But when I was sober, I'm still somebody who's still struggling with life. I didn't have all the skills that I've managed to learn now.
I think we all struggle to a degree.
Yeah, of course we do. But those struggles for me, for somebody like me who's trained himself, those struggles lead me to drink. Other people, those struggles don't lead you to drink. Everyone will know somebody on the school run, one of the mums in the playground or one of the dads, where they might even laugh and joke and say, oh, God, you know, last night I needed a bloody drink. Yeah, it's a sort of common phrase, isn't it? You get home, I need a drink.
To cope.
To cope, yeah. It's like for some people, it's a way to de-stress or whatever. And okay, maybe that works for some people because it's one. It was never one with me.
It was never one.
It was never one. And I think that was what was going on that first year sober when we got married and we got together. I'm probably somebody that you would now call and classify as a dry drunk. What that means is I'm still a drunkard. I'm still a guy who's an alcoholic. Like, I'm still alcoholic through and through.
Yeah, I know you are. You don't hang on now by your fingertips like you did then.
No, and that's because let's just go back a step. This is, I think, what happens to lots of people that go to rehab and come out and then relapse. Okay, why the hell do people relapse? Okay, hold on.
Well, hats off to them going in rehab in the first place, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. Yeah. I agree. Look, that's that first act of humility and honesty, which is
surrender.
I need some help.
You need help. Yeah.
I need help and I need to go to rehab.
Which was really attractive to me.
Bless you.
Because I thought, yes.
Bless you. So we go to rehab. And by the way, I'd been to rehab many times. I mean, I talk about going to the Priory, the one at the end of my street, 3 times. There were other rehabs that I went to as well.
Oh, you did? They were all over the world?
Yeah, they've been all over the place, yeah. Some good, some bad. What I mean by bad was...
In a chamber, in a dungeon somewhere.
No, some are a bit more boot campy.
You wouldn't have liked that.
No, I'm a bit... I wanted a 5-star palace.
Yeah, you did.
Well, of course, none of them are
service.
ever 5-star palaces. Well, I'm sure there are some. But anyway, I needed a rehab that taught me things and got me sober. So you go to a rehab and for 28 days, you're not drinking or taking drugs. You get clean, your body cleans out, you feel great, and suddenly you feel great.
Do you feel great though?
Yeah,
in that first 28 days?
Yeah, you do. Oh, it's a roller coaster.
You got gout, do you remember? Because your whole diet changed. You lost 2 stone.
Yeah.
And you got gout.
I know.
And you couldn't give you proper meds that you were used to having, the big rhino dosages that you used to have. You weren't allowed them now because you're an addict.
Well, no, I would self-medicate with the medication that I felt and fancied having. You know, normally somebody might have 200 milligram Nurofen. I'll have 3 600 milligram Nurofen.
Yeah, you did.
Anyway, so getting back to the fact that you're in rehab and they're teaching you. So when you leave, why do people relapse? It's because the truth is, I'm the same bloke that went in.
Yeah.
Okay, when I leave, I've had an education, okay, and I learn more, and I'm clean and sober. But David Golding is the same guy that went in.
Is that for everyone, do you think?
Yeah, I believe so. The same attitudes, the same belief system, the same way that you think, feel, and behave. All of those things, which is about who the hell are you? That character, that person, all those attributes that make you the person that you are. Right down to the core of how do you think, you make these thoughts. And that's what we're trying to do in recovery. So when I'm teaching my clients, it's to change the way they think, feel, and behave at the most basic level.
Do your clients struggle with that?
Everyone does. And that's why it's so hard to to get clean and sober for a long period of time, because you have to change who you are. That guy is a drinker. That guy is a drug taker. That guy is a gambler. To be somebody else that doesn't do that, you've got to be somebody else. You can't be the guy that's exactly the same but just not drinking. That's called white knuckling it. That's the dry drunk. That's the guy who's exactly the same.
Isn't that because his life hasn't changed before rehab to after rehab? He got sick in a certain environment and he's now come out without the crutch of alcohol or whatever else in the same environment that he started off in.
Some of it's environment, some of it's your friends that you keep, some of it's the environment, it might be toxic where you live. But I can honestly say that most of it's to do with you and how you think and react. I'll give you examples. Look, if I was Mr. Road Rage and every time I got in my car I get angry, it's going to piss me off and I'm going to have a really unhappy life.
You did all the time.
I did all the time. So I've got to stop doing that. Because every time I get resentful or angry, I'm one step nearer picking up a drink. If I keep perpetually having really bad days because I'm impatient, intolerant, unkind, unloving, unforgiving, and I can't accept the world on its terms, I can't let go of problems, I can't fix them, I can't be honest, I can't take responsibility. If I'm the guy that's as I was, I'll behave in the same way. Now, if my attitude was that I'm a victim and the world hurts me and I don't do something about the way that
You're always a victim and I used to dislike it.
And if I don't do something about the way I see the world, I'm the same guy. I'm going to pick up and have a drink. And that's why rehabs before the final time never worked. And it's because they gave me an education. They got me clean and sober. But when I left, a rehab on its own is not going to fix me. I needed to do the work to fix me.
But do they train you to do that when you're in there?
Of course they do. But it's the will. When you leave, do you want to carry on and put the bloody hard work in? Because it's hard work. So, for example, I'm a great 12-step advocate. I like to go to Alcoholics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous. And
I like you to go to them as well.
And I went to those meetings and they're bloody helpful. For me, they're fantastic. I know that some people don't like them and it's a shame because there's a fellowship of people that will support you and care about you and give their time for free and help you. And, you know, my sponsor, Nick, is an amazing guy and gave me so many days, weeks, months of meetings and support and kindness and love. And
you pass it on as well. You give it to, you know.
I do, but hats off that I found my sponsor in a Cocaine Anonymous meeting and he helped me. And then in learning that, I then became, you know, a sober coach and a sober companion because I want to go on and help other people. The truth was that all that takes work and it takes a commitment and it takes the moment to say, for me, I'm so sick of being that guy. That guy was miserable. That guy fucked up all the time. That guy put his family through hell. And after a decade of doing that, I finally got to the point to say, right, I'm ready to do that. Now, let's get back to the thread. Can't live with you, can't live without you. And I'm in this world where I'm miles away at that point of saying, I've had enough, I'm screwed up. Because I'm still raging at you, at the world, at work, at the people that are around me. And in that moment where I told you, I think you should leave, I was probably that angry with you for something said, done, or whatever. Or blaming you, when in fact I know you weren't to blame. You certainly weren't deserving of me kicking you out. It's just a horrific thing to do.
No, I didn't deserve to be kicked out, but I learned from it. I'll not do that again. I'm not going to leave again. You're going to go out.
I must admit that after that, you never left again. I think I left.
That changed me completely.
Yeah.
That's when I became Iron Lady, because I had to be. To protect myself.
And I
agree. That's where the boundaries come in and the electric fence that I talked about on the first episode.
Yeah. And I can tell you now, it helped. It worked. Fucking hell, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it did. And now let's take a step back. If you were an enabler of mine, if you gave me an easy ride, an easier ride.
If I drank as much as you and I used to buy all the bottles.
If you just never argued, never picked up on things, if you just accepted everything, if you were a doormat and a walkover.
Oh, I'm not a doormat.
I know you're not, but if you were, where the hell would we have been? I definitely wouldn't be sat here today. I think I'd be dead. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't know because I'm not that person.
No, I know you're not.
But you could have met a wife Well, I was your third. You know, I was brought up by women in a strong matriarch.
Yes.
Who's still a matriarch today.
Yeah, and she's 92.
Yeah.
And I know that you learnt
She brought me up.
skills.
No, I went to Loretto. I was a Loretto girl. We were taught by nuns sometimes. No half women, no half measures.
Okay.
That's what it is. There's no half with me. And I don't regret once giving you a hard time over your actions.
No.
Because if it helped you go into rehab, which I think it did.
100% it did.
Then that's good.
Now, I can tell you that during that 4-year period where we were can't live without, because you are who you were and you took this stance and you reacted and behaved in the ways you did, it made it horrible for me.
Did it?
Yeah, of course it did. But you can't think badly about that. That was necessary.
Oh, at the time it was, or else I wouldn't have done it.
I know. And you were very good. And I'm telling you now that it helped.
Okay.
It got me into rehab.
So other people, it will help. I'm
looking to the camera and saying, I'm not advocating that partners become bastards and bitches and buggers and really, but there's a way of.
You sound like Hugh Grant. Sorry.
Sorry. Well, but what I'm saying is that you've got to find the line. There's a line where people like me, the addict, can't cross, where things are not acceptable, and you're not going to tolerate these things. And I think that protection, you'll be better placed to explain. And that's what we do when we're working with clients.
It is. I can only tell them what I did.
Yes, I
in
know.
Our situation.
Correct.
I can't advise them to what they should do.
We don't give advice,
but they get the point. They understand.
And I'm telling you, it helps.
Good.
It's not that it helps. I tell people that you saved my life, you see.
Oh, don't get upset.
Oh, yeah, I do, because these aren't tears of sadness, they're tears of joy. Every time I get a chance to speak about you, I tell people that you saved my life. And you saved it because of the way that you were. Because if you hadn't have been that way, I think I'd be dead. And gosh, I'm so grateful to be alive every day. Grateful still to be married to you, and grateful to have our family and our children and do the work that I do, because I've got purpose. So there's no doubt about it that because of who you are and the way you were and the way you learned to be and become, I'm alive. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And
well done.
Gosh, I knew that today's episode would be a tough one.
It is. It's necessary.
It is.
None of us think we're going to be put in these situations. I didn't think I'd marry my second husband, be
a raging addict.
Raging addict. Didn't, no.
No, I know. And
but you see, God gave me that many children to keep busy with. I was very busy, and they took my mind off what you were doing half the time. Prioritizing the children over you was how I coped.
Yes.
I'm not getting through to him. It doesn't matter what I say, what I do. I'm not getting through. I'm being ignored, and he'll go and do it anyway. And I thought, right.
And you don't realise that there's a drip, drip, drip.
No, I didn't know.
Listen, I grew up in Somerset.
Somerset.
And there's the Wookey Hole Caves that have got huge stalactites and stalagmites.
We've not been there together, have we?
No, it's worth seeing. It's amazing. So go to Wookey Hole Caves. They're amazing. And the drip, 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 over 60,000 years, it builds up this thing. And I think that that's what happened. The drip, drip, drip of your attitudes, behaviors, your repeated non-acceptance of certain things and pulling me up short when I did certain things.
And detach.
Yeah, and detach. And
all
have
of my
things.
Own life.
Yeah, and all of those things have an impact. Now, the truth is that there will be some partners and people out there who cannot do that because of the circumstances that they're in. And their circumstances might need different measures. And of course, everyone finds their own way.
Yeah.
We found our way, you found your way.
By prioritizing myself over you, prioritizing the children, reminding myself that I matter.
Yes, of course.
Again, not something I'd ever thought I'd talk about We all matter, but we forget.
Yeah.
I matter. I have to for these children.
Of course you do. Yeah.
And you mattered as well. That was the tough bit, measuring how much sympathy to give you, how much anger to show, how much can I withdraw from a situation without you blaming me for withdrawing.
Yeah.
I found hobbies. I changed my lifestyle. I got a dog. You don't realize that part of getting Raven is a protection dog, not only to protect us, but I felt like I wanted to recruit an army.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Never knew that.
Big black German Shepherd, 60 kilos, protection dog.
Yes.
Actually, did I think I was the dog? Maybe. Did I think that I needed him to protect me from you? Or did he take me out hours and hours away from the house? We used to walk for miles every day.
Okay.
And we had a great partnership, still do, when he's not annoying me. But
Like me.
Like you. I think over time, there's only so much you can take when you live with an addict.
Yeah.
Before you pull up the drawbridge and say, enough now.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this to me anymore. I matter. And you're not pulling me down anymore. Enough's enough.
Yeah. And I feel uncomfortable about that because
Why?
It's because we talk about this first series is called Overcoming Addiction Together. And for me and you, we've talked about this. This word being together is important to us.
It is.
It's really important.
We prayed together.
Yes.
I've always said people who pray together stay together.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Look, I'd been divorced twice before. You've been divorced once before. Neither of us want divorce.
No.
We're talking about staying together and finding any way to stay together through the real rough patches. And we're both extremely grateful that we're still together. And we prevailed and got through the other side. So part of what we want to talk about and share is that you can find a way to stay together. It's very easy to call it a day and get divorced and move on. And I think that happens an awful lot. I've got divorced. I'm not being holier than thou, by the way. That's what I've done.
People get divorced for different reasons. I don't know how much tolerance people have.
Correct.
But I knew that I was never going to divorce you. I just believed. And I had faith.
Yeah.
And I prayed a lot.
Yeah.
And I found comfort in that to keep me going.
Yeah. Well, it came through and it was superb.
I still pray. Yeah.
Yeah, we both do. So can't live with you, can't live without you really is, again, that period of time where it's tumultuous, it's chaotic, and it ebbs and flows. There's periods of time that were great. There's periods of time where it's working, because every day wasn't a bad day. We had amazing times.
Yeah, we did. We had great memories.
Amazing memories.
We still do.
Yeah.
There were a lot of good times.
Yes, yes.
Which I wasn't willing to give up.
Yes.
I'll tell you what else crossed my mind as well.
Go on.
I used to think, can you imagine if I left him?
Okay.
And split the family up and had shared parenting and all that. And then he got sober and then he met somebody else.
Interesting.
And they had the best version of him that I never got.
Yeah.
No way.
That's an interesting perspective. Never thought about that. Okay.
I'll stay. I'm going to stick. I'm not going to gamble. I'll stick. It's another reason I stayed.
There'll be many, many reasons, aren't there?
Yeah. People still ask me.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Yes, they are.
It's very therapeutic talking like this, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
It's like therapy.
Yeah, it's really good. Clearly in the last 4 and a bit years, I think we've talked through everything multiple times.
Still things I didn't know that you did.
Yeah, there'll be. That's the other thing about memories is that they're not complete. They're not complete. And it's only sometimes when you discuss something do other memories get triggered. And you think, oh gosh, yes, of course. Perspectives. There's things that you've said in the podcast and I've thought, bloody hell, don't remember that. Or
did I?
Yeah. There's all sorts of things.
Well, you never remembered what films we watched.
No.
You said, we've never watched this. Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Because all we did was stay in and watch films because it was a safer bet than going out.
Yeah. And I think that actually, do you remember the wall in the house with all the photos on it?
Yeah.
I think, I hope I haven't mentioned this before.
Yeah, you have mentioned it, but say it again. Must have been 500 photos on that wall.
Yeah.
Of the kids and
Yes.
those and memories and holidays,
Yeah.
Maldives, the fish that we caught.
Yeah, all of the memories of birthdays and parties and places and family get-togethers and all of that. All these pictures are on the wall. And I'd realised I'd never, ever really taken the time to look at this wall and have a look at it. And when I came out of rehab and came home, and then it's almost like for the first time I noticed this wall and thought, bloody hell, there's 500 photos on this wall.
You did used to stand there.
So I used to stand there and look at them.
And stare at them, yeah.
And I think it took me quite a while to admit to you that I only remembered 10%.
10%?
10%.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
10% of the pictures. And it's very interesting, actually, that the memory plays a bit of a trick on you, which is that when you see a photo, you sort of feel like, I can remember that. I think the truth is sometimes I couldn't remember that. There's a photo. So it proves to me I was there. And I can construct a fake memory that I was there, and I can say, I remember when a lot of what was there I didn't recall. I couldn't recall the event. I mean, I remember asking you and saying, this one, where and when was that? What year was that? I remember saying to you, what year was that?
You did?
I still didn't know what bloody year it was.
And you always have trouble remembering the date of births of all the children, especially the younger two, because you were just in the oblivion then.
Yes.
In the madness. But I'm always there to remind you.
Okay, well, look, that's the end of today's episode. Thanks for looking in.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.